Welcome to the Odds Breakers, number one place for shared, sharp betting information.
Welcome back to podcast 45 of 2026. I'm your host, Kiev O'Neill. You can follow me on X at OBKiev. Follow us to the Oddsbreakers. Follow us on social media / the Oddsbreakers. This episode is being brought to you by FanDuel Sports, a proud partner with the NFL. If you'd like to support the Oddsbreakers and benefit from our premium plays, please visit theoddsbreakers.com. Click shop, become a member. Pick any of our winning cappers to get the premium plays before the line moves. You can also support us on patreon.com. If nothing else, please visit the Oddsbreakers and become a free Picks and Telegram subscriber. We have a wonderful show for you today. A quick one, but it's the Belmont time. Belmont Stakes. And no better person to bring on than one of our very own, the great Knoche, Shawn Knoche, to break down the ponies. Shawn's actually having a great year with the ponies. And I see his tickets, so he wins a lot. And he knows these horses more than anybody. So I can't not wait to talk to Shawn about the Belmont. And this is the last leg of the Triple Crown. Now, obviously, do you even call it a Triple Crown when not one horse is even caring about competing about it? I don't know. That's a good question. But, either way, I'm going to bet this race. There's only a 9-horse field. I believe last year was an 8-horse field. And, we're going to try to find a little bit of value here. Maybe if there's some sort of a sleeper we can talk about, or just how we're going to construct our card. Sometimes you can win with just favorites and, try to cash that way. But either way, that's what this show is about. So without further ado, let's bring in our wonderful guest, Mr. Shawn Knoche. All right, we are back. Belmont Stakes. We have a very sharp horse betting legend in Mr. Shawn Knoche from the Odds Breakers. You can follow Shawn on X at the Great Knoche. Shawn, the final level of the Triple Crown is here. It's summer. Well, pretty much. How you doing?
Not too bad. Thank you. I don't know if legend's the right word. I'd say knowledgeable, yes. Legend, no.
You're not the age to be a legend, Shawn, but you're a legend in my book, my friend.
I appreciate it. I've gotten to do a couple great shows on here over the years. We had the Wiz on for the Kentucky Derby, right? And then getting to do a couple shows with Marco over the years, who I would put into that legend status when it comes to talking horses as well.
Sure.
So hopefully when I get to be a little more put out to pasture or out to stud, hopefully maybe I'll be able to come in with those status levels, but we'll see.
Yeah, out to stud. I think we're way past our prime in that. Let's get into this race, my man. The history of this race is a little different now, isn't it, this year? Because we're not at Belmont.
Well, this is the third year, I believe, now we haven't been at Belmont, running at the shorter distance here at the 1.25 miles versus the normal, the marathon at the 1.5 miles, and taking these horses up to that distance, typically for the first time for anyone running it. So it's certainly different. The turns at Saratoga are a little more tighter. They're more like running at Churchill than it is at Belmont with the wider track and those turns. So, but the field's small here, right? We only got 9 horses. It's not going to be like it was with the traffic in the Derby, and it never is once you get to this point. So excited for it to go back to the Belmont. I watched a show with a couple guys recording live from the track where they're doing the construction, and it looks awesome. Obviously, there's still some stuff that they're working on, but the actual inlay of the track looks pretty cool. So looking forward to getting them back there next year.
I find it funny that both Pimlico and Belmont under construction, same freaking time. It is interesting. I kind of thought it'd be done by now, but it's not. But here we are. It's 1.25 miles, not 1.5 miles. I think that's key. And just to be honest with you, this feels like the Kentucky Derby 2.0 right now.
Yeah. A lot of the same characters, a lot of the same people that you're probably looking at for sure. But it's the best of the best in the 3-year-old field coming through here too, right? And the ones that obviously don't think they can hang or went a different route, and some of them are running on the undercards in some of the earlier races here too. But I still think these are the best 3-year-olds available coming into this race, and there's certainly 4 of them I think that fit that bill, and they're all right here again. So yeah, is it Kentucky Derby 2.0 with some of them? Sure, but these are the best of the best that are left for sure.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's talk about the weather. What's the forecast looking like in New York?
Yeah, well, yesterday when I did a lot of my capping, it said 20% chance of storms late in the day. So I'm like, okay, well, nothing major. And now as I looked at it about 30 minutes ago, it's up to 50% storms in the afternoon by the time the race is supposed to run. So just got to keep an eye on it. There's, not a lot of wet track history on any of these horses. So, if it does get to that point, you're probably looking more at, horses that tend to run to the lead are going to have a little bit of an advantage in the mud, right? They're not getting the kickback that you get in the back, and may affect some of those closers a little more. They may try and run a little bit more front running than they normally do. And that's really all you can do when you don't have a lot of history on muddy and sloppy tracks with a lot of this group.
No, I don't see much history of this group running in muddy tracks at all, really, looking back at it. But I guess we'll just kind of have to see how it develops here for this big race. Obviously, weather can change quick. We'll see if it's raining during it or if it's really bad or if it's just could be, something that passes. What do you think about this field, man? There's 9 horses here. How strong is this field compared to other Belmonts?
It's strong, I think. A lot of times as you're coming through, you got 1 or 2 horses that have made it through the Kentucky Derby. If you got a Triple Crown favorite, they're in there. And what you've seen a lot the last couple of years since we haven't had anybody going up for that Triple Crown is the best horses been running in the Derby, skipping the Preakness, and then coming back here in the Belmont. So I think, like I said, it's the best of the 3-year-old crew. My 4 favorite horses in this crop are all in the race. There's only 2 throwouts for me, so I think it's a real strong field. I don't think there's any dominant horse that's stepped forward here, but there's certainly some talent here, and
okay.
I think it's a wide open race.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I kind of felt that there's a few up top. I personally, you don't get the names, but these are strong horses, and they've definitely won their share of races. So, how about the pace in this race? I mean, what do you think? Let's just assume it's not raining a lot. How are the fractions going to go in this race?
Yeah, see, this is the interesting part about what we're going to get here and what happened in the Derby, right? So if you look at the Kentucky Derby, everything collapsed. The pace out front collapsed. Everybody went down. And if you watch that race from start to finish, and you look at where the winner Golden Temple was and where Renegade was coming into that first end of the stretch there, I think Renegade was in 15th. Golden Temple was dead last, and Lynx ended dead last. And as you watch the race unfold and that pace collapse and them coming from all the way in the back on the outside, I don't think you're going to see that tempo up front for them to be able to do that close. If you remember during the Derby show I did with you, we talked about Golden Temple briefly as a horse that I kind of like but wasn't putting on my card. And the reason I said I didn't like him because he was a 1-run closer, and I didn't think the pace was going to collapse out the way it did. So I don't think he's going to get that same pace trip up front here. I think it's going to be a lot more condensed, a lot more pullback. You're going to see a couple horses go up front. Power Shift will probably be up there right away. And I think you'll probably see Growth Equity get out also. I think he's got a chance. Both of those horses probably aren't quite as strong in the closer. They haven't shown it yet. And I think they're going to want to be up front and try and wire the field or close to wire the field in order to take this thing down. But I don't think either of them are strong enough for the pace collapse to keep those second runners out of there like Commandment and Chief Wallaby. And it won't be fast enough for them to collapse out and put Renegade or Golden Temple back on top of that thing if they run the same race. So slower pace overall. Like I said, you could see the 2 and the 6 go. But it's not going to be as quick as the Derby went out.
Power Shift and Growth Equity sounds like they will go a little bit, but not as much as the Kentucky Derby. All right, well, let's look at the favorites here then. Obviously, you have Renegade here, 2-1, and the 4-hole has got a really nice post there. You got Chief Wallaby that I've been on a lot, but hasn't really paid me anything. 3-1. He has, done decent in the, from a buyer's perspective, and I don't know if he's 6th or 7th or something in the Derby. Commandment is back, and Commandment had that big Florida Derby run where he destroyed the field, then was awful when the horse, in a big field of 19, 20 horses, whatever, in the Kentucky Derby. And then Emerging Market's back, and it looks like Flavian Pratt's going to ride Chad Brown's 3rd horse in this, so it's interesting to see Chad Brown have 3rd horse. And then Golden Temple's only 4.5 to 1, 92. So, what do you think about these favorites?
Well, let's do them one by one, right? We only got 9 horses to talk about. Let's give them each a little time here on some of the favorites. So, Renegade going into the Derby, I thought was the best horse in this class. You're looking at the speed ratings, the way he ran away at the end of that Arkansas Derby to win by 4. Just absolutely blasted that field, and it didn't turn out to be the strongest field of 3-year-olds in the prep races by any stretch of the imagination. But watching that horse and then watching, where he showed up in the Derby, he got absolutely knocked into the rail. If you watch the race from the start, Irad tried to take him straight to the right to try and get out of that one slot, right? He was in the one gate at the Kentucky Derby with those 20 horses, and 4 different horses slammed down on the inside. He ended up getting bounced around. He probably wanted to be close to that spot anyway, right? He wanted to be toward the back of the field coming up as a closer, but he didn't want to get banged into the rail and bang into horses right away. That still takes some energy out of you. So I think Renegade's a deserving favorite coming into this. Do I want to bet him at 2-1? I don't know, because I think, like I said, I don't know if he's going to get the pace to run into that we saw in the Derby. But he's certainly a deserving favorite. I think you run that race with the Derby again. If he doesn't get banged into the rail the way he did, I still think he outruns Golden Tempo in the stretch. I think he used too much energy up there and didn't quite get the path he wanted. So it's certainly a deserving favorite of a horse. I'll keep moving around. I'll go down and then I'll go back up. Chief Wallaby, like you said, hasn't won you a lot of money, right? Got his maiden back in January, and then went second in the Fountain of Youth, third in the Florida Derby, and fourth in the Kentucky Derby, right? So he's gone backwards a spot. But his speed ratings haven't really dipped a ton. He was best in the Fountain of Youth, and then was at 96 both in Kentucky Derby and Florida. Running against really good fields, right? If you watch the race, especially the Florida Derby, where he got out-dueled by Commandment in the stretch there, right? As they both wheeled in the Puma, came up just short of catching the Puma at the end there. Real good horse. He's had blinkers on, blinkers off. If you watch his races in both of the last two, actually the Florida Derby and the Kentucky Derby, when he got up alongside some other horses, he did not want to push through. Alvarado had him in a spot in the Derby where I thought he could have run through and actually gotten a nice clear path on the inside, probably won the race. But he did not want to go. He hesitated. You watch him again. Go ahead and watch that tape, Kiev. And if you watch Chief Wallaby right as they're coming off, as they're getting around the 8th pole there, he has a shot to go, and he's got a gap, and he hesitates and he waits. And then by the time he finally went, the 2 horses on the outside were already around and past him. He didn't have a chance to hold on there. Ended up 3 lengths back. So twice it's happened with the horse. That tells me he's got the talent to win it. But does he want to run with other horses when there's traffic? I don't know. And maybe here, if he gets in the clear a little bit more and there isn't as much traffic, right? There's not going to be 10 horses coming around the corner with him. Should have a better shot to move up and win. And I certainly think he's got a shot to do it here as well. Moving up to the other 3 favorites, as you're listed here, 6-1 on Commandment. I think this was my second favorite coming into the Derby. Nice finish in the Florida Derby, like we talked about, reeling in Chief Wallaby and the Puma in the stretch in a race that didn't have a ton of pace to collapse into, coming from behind, 6 lengths back, and then finally pulling up and catching those guys on the straightaway. I think second best horse in this class still for me, and didn't run his best race in the Derby here also. If you look at where he ended up, he got 4 or 5 wide, got bumped a little bit coming around. And I think Luis Saez took him a little bit quick into the tempo there and tried to go a little bit sooner than he probably should have watching his trip. And I think they made the jockey change here for this reason. I think they put Johnny V on him to try and hold him back just a little bit and maybe just wait a hair longer, because I think Commandment's still got the strength to compete coming off, especially not into a ton of pace. He should be sitting, 3rd or 4th coming around that corner, and whenever he's going to get to the back of the pack here. So he should be in a real good spot, in a stalking position to go. And I think they're going to have Johnny V wait, and I think that's why they made the jockey change here. So Commandment is certainly someone I like. Moving down to emerging market, we talked about Flavry and Pratt, always finishing in the top 4 seemingly in Triple Crown races. Didn't quite get that done in the Derby, coming in 10th there. Didn't have a real good trip or run here, just flattened out at the end. Didn't have a lot of kick. Speed rating dropped a little bit, and we talk about horses that were getting better. It's only his 3rd race still, so I don't think you can count out emerging market here. Beat Golden Tempo obviously already in one in the Louisiana Derby, so he's got the Kentucky Derby favorite licked already in 1 race. And if Golden Tempo doesn't have that tempo to run into, there's no way he's catching some of these front runners. So let's move right into him, right?
Yeah.
Golden Tempo, I'm not betting at 9-2. I'm sorry. Kentucky Derby winner, showed that he can come from behind. Big improvement on the speed rating. He's moved forward every time on the buyer. But without that pace to run into as a 1-run closer, and I still think he's a 1-run closer, he's not going to win this race. He's gotten beat by emerging market. Horse that's no longer in here, Paladin, the Rising Star, was able to hold him off. He closed that gap, but he didn't no shot against Paladin or Chip Honcho in that race. He finished 6 lengths back. And, even with some improvement, I don't think he would be good enough to beat those 2 horses if they were healthier in this race. So Golden Tempo, the one of the 5, at the top here with single digit odds that I'm not really looking at. So that's my quick rundown of the favorites. Yeah, what do you see and what do you like?
I mean, no, that's a great job that you did. Very, very detailed. I'd like the 4 and the 8 a bit. I do like emerging market. I think the fact that Flavian Pratt probably had his choice of Chad Brown horses, and he landed on emerging market. Now emerging market, obviously another bad run at the Kentucky Derby, but there's something they see in this horse. So, I'm going to trust Chad Brown and Flavian Pratt to do something in this. But the truth is I like Renegade the most, man. I agree. I think he was the best horse in the Kentucky Derby and had that tough trip. And, Irad Ortiz is the hottest jockey right now. Todd Pletcher, one of the best, maybe the best trainer right now. Those are the two I like the most. Now, my problem, Shawn, is who am I tossing? And the truth is, I only feel like the 8-4. I like the 3, 6, 7, 9 at the end, but I kind of like the 8 and 4 up top the most. But I just don't know how I'm going to play my ticket yet.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the next question on the agenda or something. I never really read those things. We just like talking. This is an exacta race for me. It's a 4-horse exacta race with a heavy investment. Because again, I think of those 5 horses, Golden Tempo is the only one I'm not throwing in there. I think any of those other 4 horses could win. Any of them could get second. So I'm going to have a 4-horse exacta with those 4 horses and be fairly heavily invested in that bet. And then I'll probably have a trifecta, with a couple winners, couple seconds over that line, and then everybody else in the end here. But the only horses I'm throwing out if I'm building a big ticket is the 5 and the 1. My pick 5s and my pick 6s, which I'll have a couple in here. Me and my dad like to split a couple, big ones, couple $100 tickets, and see if we can cash a large ticket. I've sent you a couple winners over the years here now, but this will be the last race on that pick 6 and pick 5, and I'm going to have 7 horses on it. So
that's awesome, and I'm sure, and that's kind of where your bread is buttered, right? Doing those pick 4s, pick 5s, and that's kind of the research that you put into it. So that's why Shawn's got such a great ticket. Make sure if you want Shawn's ticket to check out us at the Oddsbreakers or follow Shawn on Twitter at the Great Kanaki. Did you say, so when you said 4 horses, I did include the 6-horse Growth Equity? Is he? I guess if there was a sleeper, I kind of thought about him a little bit. But what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, he could wear the field potentially if he gets out. Nobody goes with him. But again, I think the 2 will go and keep him honest at least. And you look at some of the barns here and who the owners are and who the trainers are. Growth Equity and Emerging Market, same barn, same trainer, right? So Emerging Market, they know is probably the better of those 2 horses, but they've entered both of them here. You don't like to say things like, one of them's going to lead out for the other one, but much like NASCAR teams, they're looking out for each other at the end of the day in some way, shape, or form. So I think if Growth Equity goes early, it's really to set it up for Emerging Market to tuck in behind and try and wheel around him at the end and try and keep that pace a little bit more honest. But Growth Equity certainly could win it, but if he does, it's wire to wire.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense. So there's really, you don't have a long sleeper, do you? The 30-1 here, that was obviously the 1 horse here in Vitruvian Man. Doug O'Neill horse and Power Shift's kind of in the 2 hole, which is another Pletcher horse, but you think he might take off and maybe set a pace too. So there's anything double digits, Shawn.
No, nobody I'm putting a win bet in on or even thinking about an exact on with either any of these double-digit horses. Vitruvian Man was, 9.5 lengths back in the Santa Anita Derby, getting beat by So Happy and Patente. He was inside, coming across, 7 lengths back, making the turn. He's not going to run with any of these horses that can actually go. Power Shift, that speed rating's improved up to 91 this last time, breaking his maiden, but I don't see how that horse wins, even leading out, trying to go wire to wire. Interesting horse. Todd Pletcher wouldn't put him in here, especially without a chance to win. But I just don't see any of the double digits hitting the winner circle after this race.
All right, it's an exacta race according to Shawn. Any other races that you want to talk about here?
Yeah, sure. We can give you a couple picks on some of the other ones real quick. When I put my Post-it note there, there it is. Oh, we got it. You mentioned see, I do read your emails. You asked about Baffert, and Baffert didn't have any real 3-year-olds that came through healthy enough that he wanted to enter in here, but he did enter some horses in some of the undercard races that are real interesting, real good horses. If you look, Crude Velocity, who is running, make sure I got my races for you here. Crude Velocity is running in the 10th race, which is the Woody Stevens Stakes, 7 furlongs. That horse is an extremely good horse, and it's certainly one that I'm going to pick and probably even maybe single up on some of my pick fours that I'm going to put in here. I think that's his race to lose. There's some competition there from another Sherry DeVoe horse called the Englishman, who lost by a few lengths to Crude Velocity last time out in the Pat Day Mile on Kentucky Derby Day. That Pat Day Derby Mile winner has turned out to be a pretty good horse a couple times here in the last few years. So Crude Velocity there in the 10th race in the Woody Stevens, going to be the favorite, but I think deservedly so. It's certainly one that I think you want to look at. Going back another race before that, into the 9th race is another one I have kind of picked out here. That is the Jaipur Stakes, and that one I think you got a couple big favorites. AG Bullet, who's been winning races for quite a few years now, is in that race. But you got another real good horse called Reef Runner, which is currently the 2nd favorite. It's a David Fox horse. Irod's going to be on that horse. Right. I really like Reef Runner coming into this contest here in the Jaipur. He is, yep. He didn't perform well last time out, so you're probably getting a little bit better odds on the Elquia Sprint. But that was overseas. He's back on the home turf here. I think you'll see a good performance from Reef Runner. That is the horse that I am taking in the Jaipur. So a couple second favorite and then a favorite there. A couple of the other races that I like. 12th race, real quick, real similar setup here to the Belmont Stakes. This is one where I think 6 or 7 different horses can win it, but probably is going to have a real nice super if it gets to that. I think some of the long shots in this race have a better chance of possibly hitting the board or making some noise than you're going to see over in the actual Belmont Stakes.
All right, my man.
Test score specifically in that race. He also had a bad race.
Number 2, 2-hole test score.
Number 2. Yep, number 2-hole test score in the 12th race. Real bad race last time out, which is really helping your odds here. But if you look at some of his speed ratings from late last year, early this year, if he can turn around and find that form again, he's certainly going to be able to compete in this race with Rhetorical, Make Me King, and Bright Picture would be the other horse that's the favorite up there.
All right, turf race for Mr. Kanaki here. There you go. And which race was Reef Runner in again?
Reef Runner is in the 8th, I believe, or 9th, Jaipur, I'm sorry.
Okay, the 9th race. Got it.
9th race, the Jaipur.
No, that's great. And if you want any more info, you can follow Shawn at The Great Kanaki. How's baseball going?
Well, baseball started off as a banger in April. We were up a couple units in May. It's been a bad first couple days of June here. I give it back about 15 units. I'm up just over 55 units on the year.
Still a lot. That's
still great. And, you see a lot of these cappers, Kev, and you read on Twitter, 10 unit, 20 unit play of the week. I'm the old-fashioned guy that says 100 units is your bankroll that you're willing to lose in a month. And my bets are all 1, 2, and 3 unit bets in accordance to that. I'm high volume. You'll have days, Saturdays, Sundays, especially where I got more time to look at stuff and really evaluate lineups. And you'll see 10, 12, 13, 14 plays from me, but they're all 1 or 2 unit bets. And I built that bankroll up to 55 units so far on the year.
Wow.
Doing that. So we're having a great year, hoping to turn it back around. Like I said, this is my worst week of the year by far. We're only 3 days in at the time of taping here. So hopefully turn it back around this weekend, get some of that 15 unit drop back, but up 55 for the year, which is awesome.
That's amazing. I'm sure you will turn it around. Make sure you check out Shawn at The Great Kanaki. Thanks so much for listening to this podcast. If you have any questions for us, feel free to tweet us at The Oddsbreakers. Email us at info@theoddsbreakers.com. Have a wonderful weekend. Best of luck in all the games and the races, and go get some winners.